How you guys doing? My name is Ifosa. I'm here at CSM San Diego 2013, and I just came from a very, very fun and interesting course called Going Beyond Borders, Collaborating Internationally. And one of the great and awesome presenters was Stacy DeGale. I'm going to ask Stacy a few questions. She's going to tell us about the course. So Stacy, the first question, practicing international and doing mission trips, how can PTs get involved and PTAs get involved?
Well, firstly, let me give you a small amount of background about myself. I'm the current chair of the North American Caribbean region of the World Confederation for Physical Therapy. So as a result, I've been very lucky to have been in contact with a wide variety of cultures across the Caribbean and North America, the US, Canada, Panama, Guatemala, and the list goes on. So I've been very fortunate in that regard. And as a PT traveling and going to another country where the culture is very different is an amazing experience, not only because you're going to an exotic place. Hopefully Trinidad is very exotic, you need to come. But it gives you such a wonderful, better sense of yourself as a professional, as a clinician, looking at the similarities and the differences and seeing where you can make a difference and effect and provide service delivery of the highest standard in a different land that can be sustained by the physical therapist in that particular country.
Well said. Thank you. And Stacy brought up a great concept today called cultural competence versus cultural awareness, and how competence actually supersedes that. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Quite often in many PT programs we talk about cultural awareness. You know, you're aware that, for example, in Afghanistan you may have to cover yourselves properly. You know that if you go to Mexico you may have to speak Spanish. So you're aware that there are cultural differences. However, that will not lend itself for sustainability if you are going to practice as a PT or to even volunteer your services. You need to be culturally competent, where you're aware of the culture, you come in with a myriad of skill sets and a wide knowledge base of what you're going to meet. You're going to end up in a situation where you have to have the desire not just to do good, but to do good that can be sustained by those who are there. And the only way that can happen is if you are competent culturally, which is a continual process. It's not a static thing because cultures change over time. So cultural competence, it's more than just being aware that the culture is different, but it is having that desire to meet the persons halfway and to do what is beneficial, not in your mindset, but what is beneficial for that particular community.
Well said. Cultural growth is happening. Speaking about my experiences, I've been lucky enough to go on a few trips through my company. We created a Mission Works program, and recently we went to Guatemala. And I heard this line from somebody: when you do these mission trips internationally, you're going to get at least as much as you think you're given. You're really the one growing culturally,
Correct.
Emotionally, psychologically, and even skill-wise. One anecdote that I shared with people, we went into Guatemala this one day. We went into a town and we set up and we did something called clinic. And in clinic, different disciplinaries, the nurses, the MDs, the PTs, the PAs, they set up in different shops. It's almost like a flea market, you know, they're stopping by the different shops to get service. But the anecdote is there was this one day, that Thursday that week, we walk into town, and this guy from town comes up to me and another physical therapist. He goes, "Ifosa, there's a lady in town who needs help, who needs physical therapy, she needs something, but she can't make it into town. Would you mind going up to see her?" And I said, "Yeah, let's go." So we walked about a half a mile up the road, and then we walked up the hill to where she was staying with her family, and they explained to her story. A couple of years ago, she had a stroke, and she was taken to the hospital. But after 2 days, they sent her home with no follow-up, no rehab, no nothing. And we know that first 6 months after a stroke are the most important 6 months. So she lost pretty much complete use of her right arm, just trace strength and control of her right leg, just what she got from weight bearing and things like that. So she was pretty low level. And we spent about 30 minutes with her working on posture and exercising and stretching and educating her family. And I did a little bit of dance and trying to get her to laugh, which she did. I have a joke when I'm there. And we don't, how much did we really get her better? Maybe a little bit at least in terms of the education. But you know she appreciated that time. And what I got about it, my background, my family, my grandparents were from Nigeria. And the latter part of my grandmother's life, where I thought about, she had a stroke. And I kept on thinking to myself in her last days or her last weeks, hope there was somebody that was there taking care of her, attended to her, giving her what she needs. And even as I spent 30 minutes with this older lady in Guatemala, treating her, hugging her and loving her, I was treating and hugging and loving my own grandmother. And that's what I get from these trips, and I hope I can give them a little bit of that as well. So for more of these dispatches and these videos, go to apta.org/CSM and to get a feel and a taste of what's going on in CSM San Diego. Thank you so much, Stacey.
Thank you for having me.
Good call.